Hello everyone and welcome to RetroB8. In today's episode I'm going to be looking at what I consider to be the best 10 retro gaming systems that you can buy today, original hardware. Now, as we know, back in the day I was a Commodore 64, Amiga, PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 4 kind of guy. But recently I've started going back and looking at other systems that I missed out on when I was a kid. Now, I've bought quite a lot of systems and I've sold quite a lot of systems that I didn't enjoy. So this list of 10 is what I consider to be the best gaming systems that you can buy now. Guys, we're going to start, of course, at number 10, work our way down to the winner at number 1. So stick with me for the next few minutes as we count down the best 10 retro gaming systems you can own. No top 10 console gaming list can be complete without, of course, the Game Boy. It was released in 1989. It's a handheld. Of course you know what it is. Of course, I would imagine that you've definitely played one. For me, I only had 2 or 3 games. Navy Seals, Link's Awakening, and the last one was RoboCop. All absolutely amazing games that I thoroughly enjoyed on the system. You can pick one up for still quite cheap, and you can do lots of mods to them nowadays as well to make the screen a lot better than what it used to be. The PlayStation 2, released in the year 2000 by Sony. This improved on pretty much all aspects of the PlayStation 1. It was better just graphically. Of course, it integrated with the Blu-ray player. And I think if I remember rightly, it was actually cheaper than what a standard Blu-ray player was. Also, I'm pretty sure it's the highest selling console of all time. Now, at the minute, PlayStation 2 games are reasonably cheap depending on which ones you're looking for. But if you really want some high quality games with an absolutely massive library, then look no further than the PlayStation 2. Number 8, guys, is the Sega Master System. It was first brought out in 1985, and guys, this is still in production today in Brazil. It is the world's longest in production console of all time, so it must be doing something right. Yeah, well, I had one I think it was the early 90s for a few weeks, and I absolutely loved that machine. And since buying it again for the collection, yeah, I really enjoyed a lot of the games. But for me, one of the most special things about it is when you hook it up to a CRT and you have the light gun, you can play Operation Wolf, and man, that game just brings back so much nostalgia for me, and I'm happy just to own one for that reason. So yeah, guys, number 8, the Sega Master System. Number 7, released in late 1999 in Japan, is the Sega Dreamcast. Now, banded by many as a console way ahead of its time, and personally I agree with that. It came out with some real good games, but in the end it just didn't feel like it was supported well enough by third parties, and it kind of failed due to that. But with the library it has got, and the library is a lot bigger in Japan, there is still so many great quality games that have come out for this system. And for me personally, the next mini that's going to be made after the Amiga, of course, it would have to be the Sega Dreamcast, because it's such a great little console to own. Seriously guys, definitely look at getting one of these if you can for the right price, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System comes in at number 6. Now, we most commonly know it as the SNES, or that's what I call it anyway. The SNES was released in 1991 in Japan and has a pretty awesome library of games. Now, I really only ever played this maybe within the last couple of years. So I never really played it back in the day. I wasn't really part of the Sega versus Nintendo kind of like thing that used to go on in the yard. For me, it was like Commodore 64 against the ZX Spectrum. I was just a little bit too early for it, really. But what I can say is, as much as I've played the Super Nintendo, I definitely enjoyed it. And what makes it that little bit better for me is the fact that, well, it's layout with the control pad. I think that control pad, the way the buttons were laid out, it definitely, for me, kind of paved the way for controllers of a similar ilk. Obviously later on we added in you know, like analog control sticks and things like that, but I think this was the first time that they'd really aced it with the controller. So lots of games available for this, and if as long as you don't collect cardboard, you can get some of the games at a really good price too. So yeah, number 6 guys is the Super Nintendo. Okay, into the top 5 guys, and we have of course the Sega Mega Drive. Now, as I say, I did have a Master System back in the day, and when I saw my friend's Mega Drive, Sonic the Hedgehog, I was absolutely blown away. It was the same with Golden Axe as well, like 2 of my favourite games. When I saw them on the Mega Drive, I absolutely loved them. But I never did own one. But recently, you can pick up a Mega Drive for maybe 20-30 quid. You can get an EverDrive cart that you can play games on the original hardware for about 30 quid as well. So you've got just so many games at your fingertips. If you want to go down like original games as well, you can pick up games so cheap on eBay. The boxes are actually lasting pretty decent because, you know, they're not made of cardboard, they're made of like plastic. Yeah, for me the Mega Drive was quite accessible, and I have got a little bit more nostalgia for it than the Super Nintendo. So at number 5 guys is the Sega Mega Drive. Number 4, and now we're talking real retro, because this is the Vectrex. The Vectrex was first released in 1982, made it to Europe in 1983. Guys, this is possibly, as far as consoles go, like cartridge consoles, this was just groundbreaking. It was an all-in-one unit. Yeah, it's in vector, but you get some overlays which make it absolutely beautiful to look at. You can mod it, you can get homebrew games for it. It still lives on. There's a really, really strong community that follow the Vectrex, creating new software for it and demos, and it really is an exciting time to own a Vectrex. Now, these I accept are not the cheapest, and sometimes it can be quite difficult to find, and also, you know, made in 1982, 1983, these things are getting pretty old and pretty brittle, so they really need well looking after. But guys, if you've got the spare cash and if you've got the room, I absolutely guarantee you will like the Vectrex. It's a beauty. No list of mine will be complete without mentioning the Commodore 64. The Commodore 64 comes in at 3rd place on my systems to own, which obviously begs the question, if I haven't chose the Commodore 64, then the 2 things that I have chose must be pretty damn special. Well, the Commodore 64 was pretty damn special, to me anyway. It was the computer I had as a kid. It's the computer I've learned how to repair, learned how to like just get stuck into. Some of my fondest memories, most nostalgic memories, are down to the Commodore 64. The homebrew scene for it is very strong, especially cartridge wise, where they've really been able to expand what they do with the system and how far they can push the limits of the system. I'm very happy to still be a Commodore 64 owner, and I probably enjoy playing it at least once a week, guys. So we're in at number 3 is your Commodore 64. In at number 2, guys, we have Sony's Behemoth, the PlayStation 1. Released first in 1994 in Japan, this basically changed gaming history as far as I'm concerned. It was a 32-bit console, it was 3D, and at the time when I was growing up, this thing was in like nightclubs, it was everywhere that you went. Possibly my favourite games of all time, the Resident Evil series, were first brought to life on the PlayStation 1. It holds so much nostalgia for me. Yeah, what more can I say about the PlayStation 1? Huge library of games. The games are still relatively cheap, although they are going up in price because these things are becoming more and more popular. You can pick up an original PlayStation 1 for 20-30 quid, guys. If you haven't got one, go and do the right thing. Get yourself a PlayStation 1. So what's at number 1, guys? Well, there's a glaring omission from this list so far. It's been in the news recently because there's a mini coming out for it. They're going to tap in to some people who haven't got Amigas anymore, people who are interested in the Amiga. It had to be the Amiga, right? The Amiga was brought out in 1985, guys, and I think it was in production till about 1991. It had such a good run. And for me, when I upgraded from the Commodore 64 to the Amiga, I was absolutely blown away, as anyone was when they went from an 8-bit to a 16-bit console, I would imagine. The games were just so much better, so much smoother. It could do 3D, well, up to a certain extent. Like Gunship 2000 for me, I used to spend hours and hours on that game. But at the same time, I could play Championship Manager. I could put days into that. But at the same time, you had action games, you had the Chaos Engine, you had Sensible Soccer. There's just too many games to list. Flashback, that's where it all started for that. So many amazing games and amazing series started on the Amiga. And it absolutely has to come top of my list of systems to own. It's got a little bit of everything for everyone, and I think especially with the A500 Mini coming out as well, it's definitely important that people know how good this machine was, guys. And that, in my mind, if you were to go out and spend £100, £150 on a retro system, I would have to say to you, get the Amiga, because the Amiga, it covers all bases, it has nostalgia, and it's just a great machine to own, guys. And that is my top 10 retro gaming systems that you should own. Now, guys, this is just my top 10. Obviously, no one's going to agree with me. Okay, we're missing the ZX Spectrum, the Saturn, the NES. These are all honourable mentions that, yeah, on another day might have made it into my top 10. But my top 10 is just sprinkled with a little hint of nostalgia in there, as well as how good I feel that the systems are to own as well. Guys, let me know in the comments below what your top 10 would have been, or what you would have had in, or what you would have not put in. It's all about discussion on this channel, guys, and I like to hear what you have to say about it. Not everyone can be right all the time, right? Until next time, guys, goodbye.